We're gonna start with the patch notes and talk about all the changes and what they might mean. So Watanabe Kai has done a great job of making this little like putting all the patch notes in like a very consumable format. So the goat, one of the content creation goats, is here to help the community. So starting with like the system changes, champ targeting. At combat start, range champions now respect tank targeting tiebreakers. So basically what this means is that like if you ever had like let's say you like had like a Jhin or something, right? And let's say I have like a fighter and like a tank like here, and the Jhin has like a tank like here, right? So what's supposed to happen is that the Jhin is supposed to hit the Udyr because they're the same hex distance away, and Udyr is a tank while Viego is a fighter. So their role is that Udyr is supposed to take the aggro, but if your Viego like walks up, which he will in this example, if your fighter walks up, then your Jhin, the backliner is calculating who he's supposed to hit based on like their target hex. So it would target the Viego instead of the Udyr, which is like really confusing because it was kind of like broke the rules of like what they said it was supposed to be. So they just fixed that. So now yeah, see, it can't target a wrapping fighter. So now like you can put your fighters in the front row next to a tank, and they should always be protected. Changes to champion roles. So fighters no longer gain Omnivamp at all. So you really need to build Omnivamp items on your fighter now, unless they have like healing built into their kit. So like for example, like Darius has healing built in, so he can like maybe get by without a healing item. But in general, most melee carries need Hodge or BT now, and in return they got attack speed that scales based on the stage. Overall, it seems like a bit of a nerf to melee units because the Omnivamp items are just like really weak in terms of like offensive firepower, and like some attack speed, like 20 to 30% attack speed, does not really make up for the loss of like an offensive item slot. So it's rough out here for fighters on this patch. It's definitely not looking too hot. Yeah, BT is finally like an item again, but the units are just all so far they all are seeming to be like a little bit underpowered. But I guess we'll see more as the patch develops. And assassins have all been changed to fighter. So basically what that means is that they're all also getting like this attack speed steroid. There wasn't like a real difference between like assassins and fighters before. Assassins had this like weird trait where they were like even harder to target than regular units. So there was like a hierarchy where it's like tanks are the easiest to target, and then fighters, and then assassins. But the problem was that all of the assassins like dive in anyway. So if they're getting targeted, they're like one unit, like one or two spaces away from the thing targeting them. So like the like low priority on being targeted like never really mattered because they were always like right in the face of the thing that was getting targeted. I think the recommended item list might have changed, but I didn't check. So just moving on to systems, like again, like all of these fighters and melee units, they have their attack speed reduced just because now they're getting like scaling attack speed based on the stage. So they have like maybe like 0.1 or 0.2 more attack speed, but they lost like all the built-in Omnivamp. So it's rough out here for the melee units. They changed prismatic orbs so that everybody gets the same cash out. This should like mildly alleviate cases where like someone gets like a much better cash out than you, but it's still gonna happen because the value of the cash out depends on like your current spot, right? So like let's say you're trying to fast 9, then like a 30 gold cash out is like super good. But if you're rerolling and if you already hit, then 30 gold is like nothing, right? So it's still very like context based whether or not like the cash out is like better for someone else than you. But it should alleviate like some of the pain points. Also, some of these cash outs are insane. Like 40 gold, 20 rolls. That's like insane. So what is a fishy reward? If anybody finds out what a tiny present or a fishy reward is, that'd be really cool to send it in like general or something. I'm pretty sure the fishy reward is one of those like dead fish that drops from like loot sub. Yeah. That's like what I would assume. So moving on to gold orbs, you can no longer get an artifact anvil from gold orbs. This was part of like an intentional effort to make artifacts like harder to find in the game. They also removed artifact anvil from loot sub. So overall, you should be seeing like less artifact items like in your games, which I think a lot of us are probably pretty happy about. Krugs have been nerfed. I guess people are losing to Krugs, and Crab Brave does less damage. because the crop was kind of insane. So moving on to trait changes, the base gems per loss on Crystal Gambit has been buffed by a pretty solid amount. This definitely should make Crystal Gambit better if you get it in like early. You just be wary playing it, play it at your own risk, because typically you would want to play Crystal Gambit into a comp that like you can lose streak into and like play a comp from behind and like spike really hard. And comps like that are like, typically that means it's like a level 8 comp that's like the best comp on the patch, because you would just like spike really hard on stage 4 and then never lose again. And right now it doesn't look like there's going to be a comp like that you can like full loss into and then like stabilize and never lose again. So I would still be very cautious about like playing like full loss Crystal Gambit. But what this does do is that it makes 7 Crystal a lot better. Like if you have Crystal spat, like you lose and then you cash out and then you play 7 Crystal. I'm not sure if any of you guys have stat checked it or not, but 7 Crystal looks really, really good in the stats. That's also partially due to like everything else getting nerfed. So like anything that didn't get nerfed is just going to be better, but Crystal spat is very good right now, and 7 Crystal is really strong. 6 heavyweight. The health at 6 heavyweight got buffed, so anything involving 6 heavyweight is just a lot stronger. So like Darius reroll is a lot better. Like that is like fusion dance Darius. 6 heavyweight Poppy is like insanely tanky. Yeah, Ash is also less contested. Yeah. And then like Zac hero augment is probably better because you can play 6 heavyweight in that. And then they added like some new stuff like Mecha Blade Aatrox and like Golden Gauntlet Kobuko, which are new fruits specific to them. So 6 heavyweight, you should definitely expect this to like be a real trait now. Like nobody was even playing this before. So Luchador got changed, so it no longer grants it basically no longer aggro drops when Luchador procs, but instead you heal instantly and the heal is bigger. So it's kind of just like a rework. It's really good for like Mundo. So like your Mundo will no longer like aggro drop and then you get your backliners targeted. And it's probably decent for Braum, but it feels really bad for Volibear because you no longer have built-in Edge of Night. So it's just like an overall rework, but sometimes it feels good and sometimes it feels bad. 7 mech, the base health of the mech got increased by 100, which is a lot, especially considering that like the mech's health is like scaling off of this base health, so it just overall got like 10% tankier, which is a lot. It's a pretty sizable buff. So 7 mech like definitely is stronger than it was last patch, but it's changed a lot because last patch you would play 7 mech with double mech pilot, and they nerfed mech pilot really hard. So maybe there's a 7 mech comp, maybe 7 mech will be on the rise, but we haven't really seen it a lot yet. Prodigy got reworked, so at the later levels, the rest of your team does not get extra mana regen. Obviously, this is just a nerf to every like vertical Prodigy comp, so it nerfs Yuumi because your Leona and your Cassante will be casting less. It would be a nerf to like vertical Prodigy like Malzahar reroll. So yeah, they just nerfed Prodigy, one of the many nerfs to Yuumi, which we'll get to. The Protector Shields got nerfed by around 10% at all levels. Typically how you can read a patch, or like how you can determine like the size of a buff or nerf, is that like a 5% change is like a small buff or a small nerf, and a 10% change or more is typically considered to be like a big change, like a big buff or a big nerf. So this is a pretty sizable nerf to protectors, especially when you consider the fact that the shield procs twice. So definitely a pretty big nerf. But again, you have to account for the fact that like this is just a general nerf patch, like everything is getting nerfed across the board. So overall, like based on like experience and stats, like most of the protector lines still seem pretty strong, especially like a lot of like vertical protector stuff is like getting played. So although it's a nerf, I wouldn't consider protector like worse off than before. Wraith is getting buffed, so the shadow strikes every 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds. It just like generally makes it more consistent, because like sometimes there would be times where you'd like lose a fight, like a fight would end like right before a Wraith proc, or like a unit would die right before like a Wraith proc and it would like heal them. So overall, it just makes Wraith better and just like a more consistent trait to play. So Star Guardian got like a huge rework. Basically what they did to Star Guardian is that the base Star Guardian bonuses all got buffed, except for Ari, I guess. And then the scaling of Star Guardian, like as you put in more, got like drastically reduced. So basically what this means is that Star Guardian at like lower tiers is better. So like 2 and 3 and 4 Star Guardian is better. And it breaks even around 6. And like 7 is also about even. And then 8 is like a little weaker. And then 9 and 10 are like noticeably weaker. So this is, if you guys are curious, this is like one of the biggest reasons why the Zyra reroll is like so strong right now. Is that like you only play like 2 Star Guardian, which got like a massive buff. That said, like vertical Star Guardian still seems to be playable. Definitely a little less strong than before, but if you wanted to play level 8 Star Guardian, you still can. So getting on to unit changes. Malphite got a pretty sizable nerf. This is like a 8-ish% health nerf, and a big nerf on the armor that gets per item equipped. So again, this is a pretty big Malphite nerf. I think a lot of people were expecting like any comp involving Malphite to just be dead because of like the size of this nerf. But as we've been seeing over the past like 24 hours, Malphite still seems to be pretty strong and very tanky. I think it's likely due to the fact that like again like a lot of damage just got nerfed and just things got nerfed in general. So like Malphite getting nerfed too, like yes, Malphite got a heavy nerf, but he was like so broken before that now he's like still pretty good. Sivir slaps now. Yeah, Sivir got a pretty huge buff. This is like a 10% AD buff and like a really big mana change, like mana buff. And almost all of Sivir's damage is from her cast as well, so like casting more is like super huge. It's still unclear whether you're supposed to like primary carry Sivir, but she's definitely going to be a good item holder now. Like it used to be the case that if you were playing like Malphite snipers, you would rather item hold Jhin 2 than Sivir 3. And now that this is like a huge buff, that is definitely not the case anymore. Sivir 3 definitely should be able to like hold her own. So with units, Janna does a lot more damage now. This is like a 20% damage buff. Keep in mind that the damage is only a part of Janna's ability, so it's not exactly a 20% buff like overall. I'd say it's more around like 15 or 10%, because a big chunk of her ability is like the shield that she gives to her teammates. But you should definitely feel a lot better if you're putting items on Janna. Right now nobody's really come up with like Janna reroll comps yet, but honestly with the damage buff, I wouldn't be super surprised if I saw people itemizing Janna. Kai'Sa got an AD nerf. It's about like 5 or 6 or maybe 7 or 8%. Kai'Sa is still really strong, especially considering everything else got nerfed. Basically all this means is that you just want to get more stacks early to compensate for like the lack of AD on her spell. So you really want to be able to play Kai'Sa from like a spot where you can like start with a sword or a glove and then you like slam IE after like 2-4 carousel, and you're like picking up kills and you're like mixed streaking or like loose streaking, and hopefully you have like an econ augment and you can like hit Kai'Sa 2 like early on stage 3 and then get a lot of stacks on stage 3. So Kai'Sa is definitely still playable, definitely still strong. You just need to play it from a more specific spot. Like last patch, people were literally playing it from like full open, like 0 Kai'Sas, and then just rolling on like 3-1 for Kai'Sa 2 with like 0 AD, and like for some reason it like would work. But now you definitely need more stacks in the early game. Vi's heal has been buffed. Honestly, this is like a pretty nice change, like a 10% buff to her like survivability. I'm not sure if people will be like rerolling her like as a tank. Typically like healing tanks tend to be, at least in the past, they tended to be like a little worse because healing tanks have their ability cut by anti-heal, but other types of tanks like shielding tanks and durability tanks don't suffer the same issue. So it used to be that healing tanks would scale worse into the late game, especially like as everybody starts building anti-heal. Obviously this hasn't been the case for some of the set. Like some units have been like big standouts, like especially like Rakan and like Mundo at certain points. So maybe Vi will become like a viable tank in certain comps, but I don't really see this being super impactful.
I was gonna say that the stats on Juggernaut Kai'Sa look pretty good actually, and I think that's what Vi.
Like with Vi.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure she becomes like the one you want to 3-star and itemize now in Kai'Sa Juggernaut.
Interesting, yeah. I think you would probably still rather be playing Remus or Mentors. Yeah. But the important thing about Kai'Sa is that you just need to have any upgraded frontline plus Kai'Sa 2 in order to like get stacks and win on stage 3. Because the most important thing about Kai'Sa is winning on stage 3 and getting stacks. So like if you're rolling and like the first thing you hit is like a bunch of Vi, then like just play the Vi. You just kind of have to play whatever you get.
I think that Mentor and Juggernaut might be about even now, or like according to the stats I was looking at. But then Remus is definitely the best one with the highest win rate.
Yeah, Rammus
But
definitely is
if
the
you have
best at like winning out, but you just aren't allowed to play Rammus every game.
yeah, like if you miss, so like you do your 3-2 roll down, and if you miss the Rammus, then it's better to just go with whichever you hit more of, like more Vi's. Like if you hit a lot of Vi's, or if you hit a lot of Kobakos, you just kind of choose from there.
Yeah, for sure. Or like if you hit like a early like Rise on your roll down, then you should definitely consider playing Kopuko
Yeah,
because you can play 4 Mentor early.
four mentor stage 3 is very strong.
Yeah.
And makes it to where you don't have to build anti-heal, of course. So
Yeah, Tiny Team is like the best augment in the game right now. It's really, really broken. Basically any comp that you can play it in is like really good. So like if you like are rerolling Zio, like Tiny Team is like the best augment. Even if you're like going level 8 Star Guardians, like you can click Tiny Team and then just play like a wider board, like maybe like the volley like Jinx thing. Or like a Jinx with like more like heavyweights or like protectors or something. But Tiny Team in general is just like really overstated because they didn't nerf it to compensate for the fact that like the low level Star Guardian like got buffed. So like if you see Tiny Team and you can play it, it's like very, very strong. Yeah, yeah.
heavyweight
Like
Jinx,
vertical heavyweight Poppy Jinx. Yeah.
and like eventually Seraphine maybe.
That sounds pretty strong to me. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to 3 costs, Malzahar got a mana buff. This might not look like a lot, but it's a lot. Especially because his cast time is so small. So he's getting like way more cast off. Yeah, this guy's a demon now. And we'll talk a lot more about him later. But Malzahar is a beast. Smolder got a buff. This is basically a revert. I think these were his exact stats 2 patches ago, and then they nerfed him for no reason. So now he's like pretty playable again, especially again considering everything else got nerfed. Anytime you see a buff, this is like, you should think it's like really, really big when you see a buff because everything else got nerfed. Like everything good got nerfed. So Smolder is definitely like back on the menu if you get an early Smolder with AD items. Senna has basically been reworked so that she has a part of her spell where if she like overkills, like if she ends her spell early, she gets mana refunded. But she would like get stuck in this really long like post-cast animation that just felt like really clunky and bad. So now she like is much faster to get back to like autoing and casting if her spell gets cut short. So they lowered her AD like to compensate for the fact that she'll be casting more. But I think overall it's like a slight buff to Senna. So maybe she's like worth putting items on again because near the end of last patch, people started realizing like you just don't itemize Senna if you're playing 4 Mentor. But that could change back to Senna duo being viable. So Zig's got a buff. This is a pretty big buff on his spell. He got 15% damage increase on his spell, which is a lot of damage. Keep in mind though that a lot of Ziggs' damage is from his enhanced autos. So it's not exactly a 15% buff because a big chunk of his damage is from autos. So it is a pretty big Ziggs buff. And if you're playing like regular crew with like carrying Ziggs and like rerolling like Shen as well, then it'll be a lot stronger. And I think this is mostly to help compensate for like the Malphite nerf to keep crew like strong. But we'll have to see how it pans out. Right now it's looking like if you have a bunch of Malphites in your opener, it's still better to try to play like the sniper version. So unfortunately, right now it doesn't look like it's going to be a Ziggs patch. He still looks pretty weak. Udir's healing has been reduced. This is a big reason why he was so tanky in Duelist, 6 Duelists, because he had so much attack speed that he would be like casting a lot and healing a ton over the course of a fight. And the AP that he got from Titans like scaled really well. So this is a pretty big Udyr nerf. I think they made a really like conscious effort this patch to attempt to like nerf all of these like Giga tanks that would just like solo front line and never die. So yeah, Udyr got a pretty big nerf, but again, everything got nerfed, including like scaling damage got nerfed as well. Like Kraken got a rework and Archangel got nerfed, so right now it seems like Duelist Ashe is still like playable. Maybe a little bit weaker, but it still seems okay. Just less cases of like Udyr never dying. So again, they're really hammering down these tanks that like never die. So Cassante is just like a little less durable. I'm pretty sure Cassante is still broken. Just having 2 lives is just like insane. This guy's still like a really good tank. Leona's resist steal per potential got nerfed, so vertical battle academia Leona will like scale worse into a fight and like steal less armor and MR. I think Leona is still like decent as a tank. Maybe you might see like maybe some type of like vertical Bastion comp might pop up. Right now, it doesn't really look like it. Bastions definitely seem like the least played frontline right now, especially vertically. But Leona got a pretty solid nerf. She's still all right, but these two are just a few of the many nerfs to Prodigy Yumi. Poppy basically got reworked. Pawn, I don't know if you would consider this a full nerf, but it's basically just a rework. So they shifted her shield, so it's way less AP, but now it scales off max HP. So Poppy is now like a lot more benefited from heavyweight as a trait. So Star Guardian Poppy is less tanky, but vertical heavyweight Poppy is a lot more tanky.
So I think heavyweight Poppy is more tanky, like you said. It's not too much less tanky, like with her normal comps. But I would like to note that Crown Guard gets worse on her, so I'm assuming that Crown Guard will be definitely on the weaker side now.
Yeah, Crown Guard was a pretty good item on Star Guardian Poppy, and now you don't really want to build it.
Her damage doesn't scale off. So her damage before was scaling off HP. So they like reversed it, right?
Yeah. Which is fine, right? Like you didn't really care that much about the damage anyway.
So actually, I should probably stat check it, but maybe stuff like Warmogs on Poppy is just like good abyss. No.
Yeah, like max HP feels really good on Poppy. So moving on to more 4 costs. Samira's like small ults before the big one where she jumps in. These small ults got like a really big buff, which I don't actually know how big of a buff this is to Samira overall, but it should just be a pretty nice like quality of life thing because those small casts were like so unimpactful. So hopefully this helps her out. I mean, it will help her out, but to what extent remains to be seen. Yumi got a 15% damage nerf, which is a huge nerf. And on top of all the other nerfs to the comp, from Vertical Prodigy not giving mana to the front line, Leona and Cassante both getting nerfed, Archangel getting nerfed, which we'll get to, but Archangel is getting nerfed. Yumi has been sent to the Shadow Realm, yep. Interestingly, if you look at the stats, the comp still looks playable. I think last patch it averaged around a 4.2, and now it's averaging around like a 4.5. So right now it still looks like kind of playable, but I think as people develop the stronger lines, Yumi will be getting phased out. I think she's only going to get weaker. I think people are just very good at playing the line. The line got heavily optimized, and as people get good at playing other lines, I think Yumi will fall off even more.
And like on first day of patch, people are also kind of experimenting around with other things, which is making the lobbies weaker. So of course, just people playing a comp that everyone knows how to play and they're playing it well is going to look fine.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Even under those circumstances, it still looks like borderline unplayable, like definitely B tier. But I think I agree with you. It'll basically become unplayable, I think, as the meta progresses.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So Rise, 4 Mentor Rise is doing slightly less damage. I want to say around like 5 to maybe 10% less damage.
Yeah, maybe about 5-ish.
5-ish. They also nerfed Icebender pretty hard. Well, they also bug fixed it. So I think Rise will still be strong, but I think you need to play him differently. Which I'll get to later. I think he looks weaker right now because I think people are trying to play him the same way that they were playing him before, which I don't think is correct. For the 5 costs, TF. I honestly don't even really know how to read this. I think like when he casts his spell, it has more like base damage, and then his spell like scaled like depending on how many like units he had been autoing. So they made it so it does more like consistent damage. Because what was happening before is that if he marked a bunch of units and then they like died right before he casts, he like didn't do any damage. So they're trying to make it more consistent, but overall it looks, if we compare TF's like performance from last patch to this patch, it looks like a slight nerf maybe. He's definitely the worst performing 5 cost in terms of like AVP on the patch.
I'd like to point out that since his the part that they nerfed basically nerfs his attack speed, like how effective his attack speed was, so stuff like Ginsu that was normally on him got worse.
Yeah, the build might change as well.
Yeah, I don't think you really want Ginsu.
I mean, I think he still likes attack speed.
But also, like in the form of Giant Slayer, I'd say, and like red buff stuff.
Yeah, I'll just say be on the lookout because this unit, it's basically a full like rework. So he's changing a lot. It's also possible like Pun said, like it's very possible that his AVP is worse right now because people are building him incorrectly and not because he's actually weaker. So Zyra has been reworked to be less utility based and more like an actual carry. So she actually does like a decent amount more damage now, but the plant is less tanky and she buffs her team less. I think overall, I would consider it to be like a nerf maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a buff for 7 crystal. So moving on to augments, 9000 volts cannon got like massively buffed. This should actually be like pretty strong now. I already thought it was like decent last patch. Maybe I could have been wrong about that, but this is a pretty huge buff. So I expect this to be like a pretty solid augment.
Yeah. I think it looks pretty decent in stats so far.
Yeah, given the Chairmundo, this is a pretty big buff, and it's been reflected in the stats. This augment looks like pretty solid. I wouldn't say overpowered, but definitely clickable if you have like Juggernauts on your board, plus like AD or attack speed components. It's definitely a very clickable augment. One note about this augment is you need to be very intentional with your Mundo positioning because Mundo's autos, or his cast, hits targets directly behind what he's currently targeting. So you want to line him up with backline carries so that he can snipe them in the back. Space Camp got reworked to also be able to give Ziggs. It only procs on Sliver and Malphite, and it no longer procs on anything. I can't really tell if it's overall a buff or a nerf. It might be a buff. Because, like in the past, like if you upgraded like Shen and Ziggs, it would give you like Sliver and Malphite, but like you probably already hit them, right? So it became like kind of useless after a certain point. Teacher's Council got nerfed. This augment was just like really strong. And the Shen hero augment, this is a huge buff. Like any attack speed buff here is insane because you build Ginsu, which is like a multiplicative effect. So this augment, I'm expecting it to be like really strong. So you can no longer get Mess Hall at 2-1, thank the Lord. Worst augment you could possibly see. Pipeline has been disabled, which I think a lot of people might be sad about that because it's a pretty fun augment to click. And we got some more combat augments. We got Giant and Mighty and we got Tiny but Deadly. Both just like pretty generically strong combat augments, which we were sorely lacking. One tip I will say is like you want to think about how like the stats synergize with like the traits that you're playing. So like for example, if you're playing Duelist, like maybe you don't really care that much about the attack speed because you're already getting so much attack speed. Or like if you're playing Passions or like Juggernauts, then like the health is really valuable because you want to like mix stats together. So in terms of items, Archangel has been nerfed. It evens out in AP at the 5-second mark, and anything past, once it gets at 10 seconds and more, it's just worse. So less scaling into the fight. I think they're trying to, alongside with taking down these like Giga Tanks, they're trying to tone down this like infinite scaling that just like becomes inevitable. So they're nerfing Archangel. Blue buff is losing some mana gen, but it's getting a passive that grants additional AD and AP from all sources. So this will probably be good in like certain specific situations. So like for example, if you're playing like Vertical Soul Fighter and your trait is giving you like a ton of AD, then it might be strong. If you're like playing Kaisa and you have like 80 AD stacks, then you're getting extra AD from your item. So just try to build it if you have sources of flat AD or AP either from your build or from your traits.
It seems quite solid in like just normal builds as well.
Yeah, it's definitely solid. It's a solid item. GS got just an overall buff. I think a lot of people are pretty hesitant to build this item, but I think it's pretty solid now. Kraken's Fury has been reworked so that it has a cap, and once it reaches the cap in stacks, you gain flat attack speed. I think overall, this is a buff to pretty much everything that builds Kraken, except for like 6 dual Sash. One way you can think about it is like after you get the attack speed, you're attacking more with your AD, so it's like overall more damage than if you were to like stack it with less attack speed. So it's a nerf for Duelist Ash, but it's a buff for everything else building the item. Just one of the reasons that Xayah is so strong right now. Nashor's has been reworked to be like a crit item. If you guys played last set, they basically turned it into Hollow Bow. So it gains mana when you crit. I think overall it's a pretty interesting change, and I think it's a good change to give the item like its own niche. However, I'm pretty sure it's just like understated right now. Like the stats on the item just seem a little too low. I could see it being strong in the future if they buff it a little, and it's definitely like acceptable to build in certain situations. Like even on AD units, like if you have IE, it's probably fine. Overall, it just seems a little weak. QSS has been reworked so that it has less base AD, but it grants AS every second for the entire fight, rather than every 2 seconds for the first 18 seconds. The problem is that the base attack speed nerf is so heavy that it breaks even with old Quicksilver at like 15 seconds ish. So the item was already like very situational and like not something you would build very frequently, and now it's worse for the first 15 seconds of the fight. So I'm pretty sure this item is just awful right now. And red buff got a slight AS buff, which is nice. And then the Radiance all got changed to match. And they universalized like combat start effects and like abilities, which is nice because it was kind of unclear. Like some of them worked and some of them didn't. So like for example, like Vow no longer gives you mana if you place it mid combat. So artifact changes. Fishbone's got an attack speed nerf. I'm pretty sure it's still good on all the same units it was good on. Maybe not quite as insane, but definitely still good. Definitely still annoying. Flickable Blades got nerfed again. Oh, we're gonna say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Fishbones nerf doesn't look like too much, but let me just double check. Last patch, Kaisa abused Fishbones the most. But last patch in Diamond Plus, Fishbones was a minus 1.57 placement on Kaisa, and just from 20% attack speed, it's gone down to only a minus 0.66. So like, it doesn't look like a big change, but like Fishbones is definitely.
It's a solid amount, more manageable. Yeah, I think it's still a good artifact, and it's still good on all the same units it was good. Like it's still good on Kaisa, it's still good on Ashe, probably also still good on Rise. Flicker got nerfed again. I'm pretty sure it's still really good on the same units it was good on before. Like it's still good on Kog'Maw, it's still good on Ashe. Triforce got a big buff. This was really bad before. Locket got nerfed. It was literally only good on Garen. And I think it's still probably decent on Garen. So I would just never click this. Never ever take this unless you're playing Garen. Lich Bane got buffed, so maybe it's takeable now. Like I could see it being good on like permacasters, like I could see it being good on Kog'Maw or maybe Malzahar. Mana Zane got a mana nerf. I think this actually did end up being pretty impactful, if I remember the stats correctly.
Yeah, on Yuumi now, it's not. It's like not even minus any delta. It's like the same. It's like
Yeah, it's like not even good on Yuumi now.
Yeah, I believe it's still good on like Kaisa.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty weak.
RFC got buffed. Silvermere Dawn got buffed. Last patch you would only play Silvermere Dawn with Silvermere plus blue buff on Jace. I think that'll be worse now because now Jace does not have built-in Omnivamp. So you have to like waste an item slot on like BT or Hodge, or just go Stax and hope that he just like can have enough HP to kill everything before he dies. And we got a bunch of new power-ups that should enable new comps. It's possible people are playing it wrong, but just based on initial stat checks, Starry Night, Mecha Blade, and Shine Brighter, and Veteran all look really bad. So I would try to avoid these. I don't think I've seen anyone trying to play like Kennen main tank with like Kaisa or anything like that. I could see it being good because like you actually heal a lot. And Golden Gloves is interesting. Drip Duo looks a little awkward to play around. So you have to roll for Lucian and then also roll on 7 for Senna. I saw one of my friends played this with Worth the Wait Lucian and it looks like really, really good. But I don't know if you would want to actually like re-roll it like from a regular spot. Then we got some power-up changes. Adaptive Skin is better. I think it was already decent on like some units, but it's stronger now. All Out is maybe playable again, or like at least a little better. Attack Expert buffed. Testis Boy for Smoldering Kog'Maw buffed. Blade NATO buffed. I'm just gonna talk about it if it's like something that I think is like really impactful or like big. Bludgeoner and Keen Eye both got buffed, and I already thought they were both like really good. So I think unless a unit has like a specific fruit that like synergizes really well with them, Bludgeoner and Keen Eye should be like probably go-to for a lot of units. This is just like an insane amount of like armor ignore. Like keep in mind, didn't this used to be 30 at one point? Or was it? No, it was like 35 at one
It
point.
went to 35, yeah.
So it got like massively buffed.
They nerfed it, right? It was originally 40 and they nerfed it to 35 and now it's double buffed.
Oh, was it 40 at one point? Oh,
I
maybe.
feel like that's how it came out, but yeah, they're definitely good now.
Fairy Tail scales better. I'm pretty sure this is only good on Kog'Maw. Finalist, this is the one that gives you amp and durability when people die. I think if you have a really good spot, this might actually be clickable. Again, Icebender nerfed. Yeah, Mage is better. Mage has less damage reduction. I think this is really good for some units. Like I think it's good for like maybe like Lux, maybe what's her name? Karma. The problem is you really don't. Mage is really bad on AD units because AD units do a lot of damage with their auto attacks, and Mage reduces your auto attacks as well. So it's like very situational. I could see it being maybe acceptable on Kaisa, but I feel like you just want Bludgeoner or what's the other one? Kaisa can get. Is it can Kaisa get Efficient?
No.
No.
You like Bullet Hell, which I don't think.
Oh yeah, Bullet Hell. Yeah, it's like Bludgeoner or Bullet Hell. Yeah.
I'd say Bludgeoner is probably like safest bet.
Yeah.
Or Sky Piercer if you don't already have like Glass Whisper.
So all of these max Arcana and max attack got like a really big buff, which is that the tracker to get a stack used to reset between rounds, so you had to get all 3 kills in the same round. So this should actually stack like way faster now. So maybe it's actually good now. Mech Pilot got nerfed, which sucks for Mech Pilot because that's pretty cool, and it wasn't even that OP. And Ordinary got buffed, and it's still unplayable. Over 9,000 gives more stuff in general, so maybe it's a little clickable because it was really bad last patch.
4 to 8 on resist sounds pretty big.
Yeah, it might be good on like melee units.
Yeah.
Pack Tactics got buffed. Play at your own risk. It actually doesn't look horrible. When I was trying to stat check it, it looked okay. But yeah, just be careful with it. Serious Slam basically got reworked so that it's good. It's better on everything and not named Volibear, and it's worse on Volibear. I don't know why Singularity got nerfed. This was like the most unclickable thing ever. Socialite got nerfed. It's a pretty hefty nerf, but I'm pretty sure it's still really good in a lot of comps. Soulchiver got buffed. Pretty sure it's still like kind of situational. Standalone nerf, probably still decent. Unstoppable was already kind of mid, and now it's like a lot worse. Tiny Terror still unclickable. And then we got a bunch of bug fixes. So that is all of the actual patch notes. So now we're going to talk about how to actually play the patch. So right now it looks like a lot of reroll comps are dominating the meta. Namely, Fanservice Siricon, Malphite Jhin, and any version of Kaisa. If you can load into a game and play any of these 3, especially if you can play them uncontested, you should feel really good about your game and probably have a pretty good AVP. So this should be like what you're looking for. Viego is strong. He's pretty solid. We're gonna get to him later because I don't really think he's something that you should be trying to like default or like angle as like a primary plan. He's definitely an option if the game gives you the spot. So you might be asking, what if you can't play one of those 3 reroll lines? Because obviously you can't always play it, right? Like sometimes someone's gonna have a better spot, sometimes you're gonna have bad components. Like sometimes you're gonna be out contested. So you have a few options as like kind of like the B plan. Like obviously you would like to be playing one of those reroll lines, but you can't do it every game, so now what? So your options are play a level 8 line, play a different reroll line, or fast 9. So we're gonna go over a couple of level 8 lines and talk about like our thoughts. Because they pretty much all got nerfed across the board. With like a few exceptions. So Rise is Mentor Rise is basically very similar to last patch, but the way you want to build Rise is different. After the Archangel nerf and the Icebender nerf, which they both had synergy together and they both got nerfed. So we are pretty confident that like a more like upfront damage build with like Rabadons or something like Keen Eye or Annihilation should be stronger than like an Archangel build, or at least like a lot stronger than before comparatively. Despite the nerfs, Socialite should still be really strong in the comp because nothing else really like cares that much about fruits. You should still probably be trying to duo like Yasuo or like a melee carry, and the melee fruits just aren't really that good. And if you hit an early Yone, you can consider buying like Karmas on your roll down because 7 mech did get buffed, and it looks decent in the stats. But overall, like if you get an AP opener, because like none of the really good reroll lines are AP, if you're forced to play AP and if you have to go level 8, Rise is probably going to be your go-to. Another option, if you have like IE or AD items, and if you have like the Fury type opener, or like if you can't play like Kaisa, you can play Soul Fighter. You really want to be playing Soul Fighter like from ahead, because if you can't make it to 8 Soul Fighter, it's really bad. So you want to play it from like a tempo spot where you're like very confident you can go 9, or if you have a +1. So it's not something I would play from like a lost streak or like a mixed streak. I think a lot of people are trying to play Soul Fighter after seeing like the Samira buff and the fact that like none of it really got nerfed. Despite the fact that everything around it got nerfed and Samira got buffed, Soul Fighter still looks pretty mid in our opinions and looking at the stats.
Personally, I'm gonna avoid it unless I have a spec.
So Star Guardian, like vertical Star Guardian, still seems to be like alright in the stats. Again, like 7 Star Guardian is like maybe a little bit weaker. And then like the cap is lower, like 8 Star Guardian is worse. But you can definitely still top 4 a game with Star Guardian. It's just very important that you have like the right items. Star Guardian is like pretty picky. You really need 3 like real tank items on Poppy. Like if you have to build Sunfire, you want to put it on like Nico and then build like a 3rd real tank item. And then Jinx is like very specific with her piss. She like really needs Kraken and IE. And then ideally you go for Sky Piercer because you have mixed damage, and Last Whisper is just kind of hard to make in terms of item economy. Yuumi, we already talked about it. It like looks playable in the stats, but it feels really bad, and it's only gonna get worse. Any version of Ashe they all seem okay. I think Juggernaut version is definitely a lot more viable, especially if you can't get Udyr Piss. And just a little note here that 7 Crystal Ash is like really strong. Star Guardian question, is there any world where it's too optimized from last patch so it looks artificially strong right now? Yeah, that's definitely possible that it's having the same thing that Yuumi is going through, which is that it's weaker than it looks in the stats just because people like are very good at playing it after last patch. So it's definitely possible that it gets worse as the patch develops. Sorcerers, again, despite the fact that everything around it got nerfed and it dodged nerfs, Karma is just too weak. You can't like stabilize and win fights on level 8 and stage 4 and 5 because Karma is just bad. So even though if you can get to the cap, like if you can get to Gwen 2, Braum 2 on level 9, it's pretty strong, but there's just no like reasonable way to actually get there because your mid game is just like unplayable.
I was looking at stats, and if your build on Karma is JG and Strikers, it looks like Shojin is still much better than Nashor's.
Better than Nashor's, yeah. Yeah, like I said, like Nashor's was kind of supposed to be like this, like a Shojin but for crit builds, and it's just like kind of understated. So another thing is that this is just an overall like insight into like how the game works, but when every 4-cost comp gets nerfed, it makes stage 4 and like the earlier parts of stage 5 a lot easier to play, and the overall strength of the lobby is going to be a lot weaker on stage 4, and that opens a path for like 3-cost reroll lines and 3 costs in general to be a lot stronger because you won't be getting smoked every fight on like 2-star 3 costs like while you're rerolling. So some lines that people are playing a lot right now is Smolder and Kog'Maw both look playable. Ideally you want to have them early and like leveling up early, but they both look playable. Malzahar with as many prodigies as you can with Rammus in the front looks pretty strong as like a reroll line. Malzahar with heavyweights It's literally just Malzahar plus 6 heavyweights and you roll on 7. Seems pretty decent. The only problem with Malzahar heavyweight reroll is that the 3-cost heavyweights aren't tanks. So you're like playing for like Poppy tank, but like you're rolling on 7. So it's a little awkward. I've definitely seen it be successful.
It also can turn up like Fiddle from last set, where you'd be like rolling and you just miss your most important unit that activates 6 heavyweight because it's a 4 cost. So
Yeah, like you're rolling on 7 and you don't hit a Poppy, and then you like want to cry.
yeah, it's just like a lot of variance where it could just like make you have a much lower AVP just from missing a 4 cost for a while.
The other problem with it is that even if you're playing around Poppy tank, you're level 7, so you don't have Star Guardian for your Poppy and you don't have Prodigy for your Malzahar. So it's like, why even like, it's like kind of counterintuitive that it's even playable because like your tank and your carry both don't have like a trait active. But we were playing and experimenting with another playstyle for heavyweight Malzahar, which we're gonna cover like near the end. Another reroll option is like Stretchy Arms Viego with Vertical Soul Fighter. I think this is a very like tricky line to play, so I made a slide like specifically dedicated to this line. Fusion Dance Darius. This is literally just like 6 heavyweight Darius with Fusion Dance, plus like any random Supreme Cell. And then you just want your Darius like 1v9 everything, and you eat like Jace 3. Caitlyn Jace should be a little stronger just because it's easier to play stage 4. And obviously it's like a bit of an outlier. It's like the only 1-cost reroll line here, but Kale looks a lot better than last patch in the stats. Like last patch, Kale was like a 4.7, and now it's like a 4.2 or a 4.3. So if you gotta look out for Kale angles, because it's definitely playable again, and it's definitely strong.
Yeah, it has a very high win rate right now.
Yeah, very high win rate. And again, as a reminder, because I know a lot of people are probably rusty on Kale, because it wasn't really playable last patch, but you really, really need to be in a spot where like you are confident that like your spot is good enough that you can go 9. Because if you can't make it to 9, you just lose the game, right? So like, I'd be very like selective, try to be very picky about your Kale spots. But if you have a good spot, it's a very, very strong line.
If you don't, if you aren't on a portal like Scuttle Puddle or like Gold Sub, then try not to play this if you don't see an Econ Augment on 2-1. Like even if you have like 4 KOs and good items, it can be a little sus because like you'll realize that you get stuck on it most of the time if you don't find Econ later. So like if you commit to it from 2-1 with no Econ Augment, you could just miss on 3-2, 4-2, not find anything good to help you level up and just die out on level 8.
Yeah, you need like good items, you need to hit, and you need to go 9. So like ideally you play it in a portal that helps you. So like any econ portal is like really nice, or like component anvils, and then you like take an econ augment, and then you'll have like handpick items. There's also like another way to play it. Alright, so the long Viego. So what is Viego reroll? I wanted to talk about this specifically because it is like not played very common last patch, and it looks really good in the stats right now. This is not a line that you can like default. You really need early Viegos, primarily because Viego's items are so specific and weird that like nothing else is like a good item holder for Viego. So it's hard to pivot into it like if you don't have it early. So you really want early Viego, and you really, really need stretchy arms on your Viego. And the whole idea of the comp is that you're really only rolling for Viego 3. And because you're only rolling for one thing, ideally, especially if you're naturally copies early, ideally you can hit Viego 3 really fast. And then once you hit Viego 3, then you push to like level 8 and level 9 for like 8 Soul Fighter. So I just want to emphasize again that like the strength of this comp is that you can hit early and fast and then push levels. So if you're not naturally like early Viegos, you should not even really be thinking about playing this comp. Yeah, also maybe like weights or like can he get not done yet? I don't remember if he can. Would you drop Udyr if you hit Gwen early? I would drop him like if I like after you hit, and after you hit and go level 8, if you find Gwen, you should play 8 Soul Fighter like as soon as possible. But obviously if you find it on level 7, if you find it on level 7, you can drop like Samira or Xin Zhao. I've seen some people saying you can go for Xin 3 in this comp, or even saying that you go like Colossal Xin Zhao. I'm pretty sure it's bait. Colossal Zin is just like not even really that good, and you don't even play Bastion. So I'd rather just tank like ideally set 2.
The reason Colossal is good and stuff like Duelist is because you don't really have a unit that gives your board value, like after this for 7 units. So like there's so many ins that you could put in this comp, like obviously just higher Soul Fighter tiers or just like a Bastion or something. So like there's always like value in adding extra units. So Colossal should be pretty weak.
Yeah. One thing that you could try is going Socialite on Zin or Nefiri. I think that's better in Vertical Soul Fighter because this is a comp that's much more about like one unit solo carrying. Typically Socialite is better in comps where like every unit is like putting in work, which is why it's so good in Mentors. So yeah, I would probably just try to take a real tank fruit plus Stretchy Arms Viego.
Oh, you don't like Socialite?
I don't really think it's good. I know Chabo was saying to play Socialite, but if you're rerolling Viego, like it's just you want the entire comp to be about like enabling the Viego, right? So I feel like it's better to go for a real tank fruit than to get amp on like your Lux and your Samira. Like who cares about that?
Wouldn't Socialite help boost the Viego because it actually uses it for taking give her extra sets? So other ones are more selfish towards like one unit.
Yeah, I mean, if it ended up being good, I would understand it. I just don't want to like go out and like tell people to play Socialite in this comp because it's so like it's not tested at all.
I feel like you can't really go wrong with Socialite though. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good fruit. Like I wouldn't question it if I saw someone doing it, but I don't want to say like fish for it.
One downside versus other comps is that like when you're rerolling, Socialite's a little bit weaker just because you have less units on your board for longer. But yeah, I personally think that I would guess that Socialite's the best second fruit, but could definitely see it being something else.
And our final section on like lines to play is gonna be about Fast 9. So Fast 9 is stronger for the same reasons that 3 costs are stronger, which is that stage 4 is easier to play. So you're punished less for trying to skip stage 4 and go straight to 9. The Varus TF board where you go like wide and you tank like Cassante, you play Jarvan and Braum. That board is still very good. Varus was untouched. So I'm definitely expecting that board to still be very strong. Excuse me. One thing I will say is that from what I've seen so far, it seems to have a bad matchup into Xayah because it can't really kill the Rakan. There's not enough like single target damage on the board. And Xayah is going to be like in basically every lobby. Like Xayah should be in every lobby. So Varus TF, it might fall off a little bit just because of like matchup related things. And then there's a new way to Fast 9. I was experimenting with it earlier, and it's extremely experimental, but it felt strong to me, and I was succeeding with it in some of my games earlier, and I'm gonna talk about it. So the first thing to talk about is 6 heavyweight. This trait, along with the changes to Poppy, makes 6 heavyweight like extremely strong as like a frontline like tanking trait. 6 heavyweight Poppy with even like 2 or 3 Star Guardian active is just like insanely tanky. Like I was playing this trait earlier with like 2 Star Guardian and 6 heavyweight, and my Poppy 1 was tanking like upward of like 10,000 damage. Like I'm pretty sure 6 heavyweight Poppy is like insanely overtuned in terms of tankiness.
Oh, I'm pretty sure like when you look at the damage chart and like how much your unit's tanking, it doesn't actually count HP. I think it's like damage blocked from the armor. So I don't know if that actually increases it since she's like mostly health. Like is she actually blocking more than what it shows?
Oh, true. I'm not actually sure how the damage chart
I'm just saying like she might be even
like
tankier
shows
than
it.
what
Yeah. But she's really insane as a tank. And this like enables a lot of comps. So like Darius reroll gets better because having a tank for your Darius is really nice. So he does get like 1v9'd. And also obviously it just gives your Darius more stats. And like the Malzahar reroll line is strong as well. And there are 2 more options to play with vertical heavyweight. So the first is this is a bit of a meme comp. Play this at your own risk. I've not tested it at all. I've not seen anyone play it. But I was looking at the stats, and Kobuko 3 with vertical heavyweight actually looks like it has pretty decent stats. So if you don't care about your LP and you just want to experiment, then feel free to try this line. But to be honest, if you're just trying to climb, at least until it gets tested more by other people, I would probably avoid this. I just want to put it here because it looks good in the stats.
The
So
way
what
you
this
built
is,
it, could it have just been like Darius reroll players that hit Koboko 3, or was it separate?
I mean, yeah, I don't think I filtered for all that. It's definitely possible that that could be the case, but basically the idea is that you go golden Gauntlet Kobuko, which is his new his specific fruit that gives him AD for making interest. And the idea is that you just go as many Warmugs as possible because your trait is like converting Warmugs into AD. So it's just like any combination of like Warmugs and Sterax. And then you can like do okay Jin in the back. And then you just level for 6 heavyweight. And then you probably try to cap around like Varus. Is it Glove or Gauntlet? I thought it was Gauntlet. Maybe it's Glove. I needed to double check. That's my bad. Oh. Okay, I'll change that later. Thanks, guys. And then the other way to play 6 heavyweight that I was actually having a lot of success with is Malzahar Tempo. So basically, this is just taking the Malzahar reroll line and just saying, what if we didn't reroll at all and we just tried to go 9 off of Malzahar 2? So the idea is you just have Malzahar 2 with Syndra and 6 heavyweights, and you can literally stop rolling as soon as you hit Malz 2 and Poppy 1, and then you just put all your tank items on Poppy, and you just try to go 9. And this board is surprisingly strong, like very, very strong on level 8. You can go for Socialite on Jace, Zac, or Aatrox. Socialite feels really good because you're giving your heavyweights flat health, and then they gain more health based on like a percentage of their health. Malzahar, you can go like Kenai or Shadow Clone. I think Pun, you were talking about do you want to talk about the other option you were talking about?
So there's also some like exploration to do with like stuff like Atomic on Poppy, since obviously you have all the flat health, and Malzahar takes their backline. So I was gonna look into like Poppy Warmogs with Atomic. That could be a secret OP tech, but we gotta test it out more.
Yeah, this definitely needs more testing, and maybe this like won't be as strong once people figure out like more level 8 lines. I'm probably just scamming people right now because like people don't know what to play on stage 4. But it feels really, really strong. And then you level to 9 and you either just add Zyra and replace Syndra for Seraphine, or you can play like more Wraiths. Like I think you can probably drop like 2 heavyweights for like Jin Varus if you can make Varus items. But the cap is actually surprisingly high. And it's just like overall, like this board on stage 4 is like very cheap. You can literally stabilize on Poppy 1, Malzahar 2. It's very cheap, it's very easy to hit, it's very easy to play. And it's like surprisingly strong. So I will continue to play this and experiment with it and get back to you guys more with more data and more tests. But yeah, this definitely looks like we might have figured out something very strong.
Also, I could totally see this the correct fruits being like Socialite and then Poppy fruit over Mouse fruit.
Yeah, I could see that too. Like you just make your Poppy live forever.
Yeah, or you take off like Socialite once you hit Poppy 2 and just preserve her. But a lot to be looked into. Is there any road where you do that Star Guardian?
Tiny team.
Yeah, tiny team. Primary
I could
Quest,
see it.
Syndra?
I could see Tiny Team being like okay. The problem is like, yeah. I mean, I could see it honestly. And you level and you just keep the Syndra, and you just play like 3 Prodigy, 3 star.
It looks a little too awkward for me.
It just looks like not effective enough on level 8. That's the main problem.
Did you play with a +1? I think the level 9 board gets helped out a lot by certain +1s. It's got to be heavyweight is the best one, right?
Yeah, the problem with heavyweight spat is like who holds heavyweight spat.
What is its special effect? It's just like the
It like gives you permanent HP. Yeah. I can't help it. I mean, I could see it being like you heavyweight spat and then you heavyweight like Cassante and then you play more Wraiths.
Yeah, that fits pretty well, right? You just kept out with Varus. I
Yeah.
could also see it on Lee Sin, since Aatrox hangs the Juggernaut trait. You just make Lee a Juggernaut and have him be really tanky with the heavyweight emblem. Give him more AD.
Mhm.
What about Mundo?
I mean, Mundo just doesn't really go in the comp. I mean, I guess you can play Juggernaut because you have what's his name, Aatrox. But
Yeah, I mean,
I think I would
maybe.
just rather play. I'd
Maybe
probably
since we're
rather
getting
play
rid of
Casante.
Yeah, Kasante makes the most sense to me. Unless you hit like D2 out of nowhere, then maybe Lee.
Also, another thing is that if you're rerolling, I feel like I wouldn't really want a +1 in this like tempo version. If anything, if I have a +1, I feel like it incentivizes me to reroll because if you're rerolling with a +1, you can drop one of the heavyweights for Syndra on level 8, and then or on level 7, and then like you can fit Star Guardian and Prodigy on 7.
Yeah. Like a lot of the upside to playing this in more of a fast 8 tempo type of way is because the board just doesn't fit very well on level 7, like we went over. But so yeah, if we're getting rid of that, then with a +1, then yeah, I agree that reroll should probably be the better way to angle into better lane.
I'm gonna be playing this more over the next couple days,
Same.
but it seems strong. Honestly, if you're gonna play games today, if you're gonna go in today, especially because people don't really know what's going on, you can scam people with this because it's definitely strong.
What was I gonna say? If you have success with this comp, post the screenshots in here. We need
Yeah,
all that info we can
we
get.
need to be vindicated. All right, so that's about it for the like the physical comps. Um, if people are curious or like not familiar with it, I can go make a little like slider mock-up for like Zaya or for like protector snipers. Because in retrospect I'm realizing this like as I'm doing the presentation, but I feel like I skimmed over like the best lines on the patch. So if people feel like unfamiliar with them or like not sure like how to play them or like what items you're supposed to make, I can do that for sure. Yeah, so for Zaya, basically it's just Zaya and Rakan with the fan service fruit. So you need 2 fan service fruits on them. And then you just go like like Eco and then you play 4 protector on level 6 plus Shen. Or not Shen. Yasuo for your Zaya. How mandatory is fan service? It seems pretty mandatory. If you have like a specific setup with like Atomic and Warmogs, I could maybe see it being playable. I would want to look at that VOD actually, because I would my first thought was that he's only doing that because he missed fan service. Yeah.
I would like to see that though. More Atomic stuff.
Oh, it's from today? Alright, yeah, I'll probably go check that out actually. So this is like the comp on level 6, and then right now it looks like what people are doing is you're just leveling for a 6 protector. So you do like this and this. But I've seen people saying that you're supposed to play Jinx, and then instead of 5 protector you play Jarvan. Yeah. And the reason for this is that Jinx's Star Guardian bonus is really, really nice for Zaya. And it's even better considering the fact that they buffed the lower levels of Star Guardian. So this is another level 8 version. I would need to do a stat check. I'm not exactly sure which one is stronger.
Yeah, let's just do the level 8 word.
That should be pretty easy to check, right? You just go Zaya through Comfrey, and then you see 6 protector. I mean 4 protector looks really bad, but if you go like 4 protector plus like Jinx, like how does that look? I mean that looks really good, right? A 3.0.
Wait, 3.0. Is there a way to cap your level on
Yeah, I could just say like level 8.
Yeah, let's just check level 8.
So if this is my level 8, I'm at 2.6. If my level 8 is just 6 protector, I'm a 3.5. Okay, so Jinx Jarvan is a lot better.
Yeah. And could you check one more time? Like the amount of people that are doing 6 Protector over the Jinx? Because that could mean that this comp is like much better than the stats suggest. If people aren't like leveling and putting in the proper.
Okay, this is level 8, 7.7k, 3.55. $400. Oh, like very few people are doing this, but it's definitely better.
Yeah, so like knowing this will give you a pretty big edge. And then the level 9, by the way, is just 6 Protector, and then you keep Jinx and take out Jarvan.
Yeah, you can drop Jarvan at level 9.
Could I talk about the itemization and stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
So this comp is like Udyr Ashe, where it's like very item dependent. Now, I mean, I'm sure it's defined without like proper items, but for Xayah, she needs Kraken's Defunction. If you don't have Kraken's, it's like plus 0.4. So that's her most important item. So like, if you can choose between making Ginsu and Kraken early, I'm pretty sure you should go with Kraken. It seems like more of a diff. And for Rakan, he absolutely needs Titans and Archangel. If you filter and like take Archangel out of the build or Titans out of the build, I mean, your placement goes up by like half a placement. You can check that out. So it's like, think of not having Arch or Titans on Rakan
So
as like not
just
having
default, it's a
Kraken.
3.5. Which, by the way, this is like insane for a 2-cost reroll. Like this is crazy. Like for reference, like Viego 3 is like a 3.7. So like a 2-cost reroll after hitting, having a better average than a 3-cost reroll after hitting, is like very egregious. And Viego's like not even bad. Like Viego's good. So if I take out Arch, I'm at 3.8. If I take out Titans, I'm at basically 3.8. But if I take out Gargoyle, I'm at 3. Yeah, so Gargoyle, this is like the ideal like default Rakan build. But out of these 3, it actually turns out that Gargoyle is like the least important.
So you can get away with other items and like find it later. But this comp is also just very good. So like if your items, like if you have a good start for it and your items are okay, maybe you struggle to find the Arch or Titans and you can just build one of them, like you're still fine. Like just play the comp and you can find another one later. Like it'll still be good. But like once you have everything, is when it like really unlocks. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
like
Like you can drop the Garg for like 10 faster Bramble, but and then the ideal last item is GS. But if you can't get that, then like Strikers is okay, and like Double Kraken is okay, and like Eon is okay, and even IE surprisingly is like okay.
yeah, it's better than it would be on like Ashe. That is never put IE on Ashe, but it can go on Xayah sometimes. And then also building IE in this comp is fine because eventually it will move to Jinx. So if you have the slam for tempo, the sword and the glove don't really go towards any other important item, so you can just build it in the meantime, move it to Jinx later. Completely fine.
Yeah, Forkham, you make a good point. Because the comp is so like specific, you really want to play it from like either like a lost streak, so you can like get your items off carousel, or like an item augment. Specifically, an item augment that like allows you to pick your components or like get components.
Pandora's turns these type of comps like Ashe, Udyr, and the Cyricon comp into like very S tier comps, since you can pick and choose like complete like Turbo Abyss. And it's also fine to lose streak with 2-cost rerolls because you're the stage because you know that you were going to spike on 3-2 and win out the rest of stage 3.
Yeah.
But only do that if you have an econ augment or you're in scuttle, because if you lose stage 2, you roll down, you hit your board 2-star, you're stable stage 3, but if you don't have enough gold to hit your units 3-star during stage 4, you're going to lose out stage 4 and you will die. So don't do like the lose streak into 2-cost reroll if you don't think you have enough econ to hit by around stage 4 or 5.
I'm actually curious too. What are the so I'm looking at Ornn items right now. So Flicker, Fishbones, Snipers, and then there's actually a good amount of acceptable tank ones. Seen a lot of people playing it with Seekers. It looks solid. I think you would go Seekers instead of Gargoyle.
Maybe get away from with cutting arch as well. But not sure.
I don't think so.
Have to wait for more stats, more sample. Yeah, it probably is just Gargoyle out for Seekers.
So Kraken's the best one. GS is pretty good. Archangel on the Rakan is good. And then like, yeah. Interestingly, Ginsu is like the worst one.
Did they change Radiant Ginsu? Because I think I was looking at Ash earlier and it didn't look great.
I don't think so. I think it's just because the Ginsu unit's all Kraken, and Kraken gives attack speed now, so like more attack speed is like lower value overall.
It's like why not just Radiant the Kraken if you're getting both the stats?
Yeah. So this was good. This was fruitful. We learned a lot. No. We learned that you're definitely supposed to play Jinx Jarvan when you level. We learned that Gargoyle is like the least important item. And we learned some Ornn and what's it called? Radiant stuff. And again, if you're playing this, which you should probably be trying to play it because it's one of the best comps on the patch. If you are contested, your options are obviously if you're contested, your options depend on what you already made. If you slammed items. So if you made like the backline items, you can try to play into like vertical Star Guardian Jinx or like pivot your whole board into Ash, but obviously pivoting your whole board is like difficult. So if I were to be contested on this comp, my primary plan would probably be to just play like push levels and play like vertical Star Guardian.
Yep.
Unless I just like wanted to contest and I like if you feel like you like have more econ than someone and can like hit before them, then like it's correct to contest them.
Especially when the comp looks very good like this one does. It's more accessible to contest like if you have more econ. But
yeah,
don't do it if they have like too much value or something. Don't try to contest the comp. You're just gonna be stuck on 2 stars the entire game.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about is early game holds. Did you guys hear my dog?
No.
Dog is waking out. Okay, this is the last thing I wanted to talk about. This is Juan and I were talking about this together like earlier, and this is kind of this is more so mine, and then I took some notes on Juan. I think we disagreed on a few things with this early game like hold tier list. But the main thing is that like protectors are like really, really good holds. Like better than last patch because like you want to be playing Xayah, you want to be playing Kai'Sa, and you want to be playing like protector snipers. And all 3 of those comps like play either like cannon or just like protectors in general. So like just holding them early like is what will enable you to play into the best comps. So in other words, like if you're not holding these units, it's a lot harder to play the best comps on the patch. So your life will just be a lot easier if you like have them as like a priority. Aatrox is generally like an insane trait bot, especially considering that like Kale is good, the Juggernaut stuff is good, and Mech is just like a strong opener. Aatrox is just like a very, very useful hold that like allows you to play a bunch of openers. Syndra is still just like really strong early. She also enables like Star Guardian, and they buff 3 Crystal, so maybe you would want to play like Crystal. She also plays into Malzahar like really well. If you played like a Syndra opener, I would try to avoid Yuumi. Like if you had like a Yuumi spot from last patch, I would try to play Malzahar instead.
Yep.
Like if you like screenshotted a game from last patch on like stage 2 or stage 3, where you like thought that you were playing Yuumi, I would be like just play Malzahar with heavyweights. Like don't play Yuumi. Like I have I don't think I was recording, and obviously it could just be a bad matchup, but I was playing a game earlier today where I was like Malzahar 2, level 8 with 6 heavyweight with Poppy 1, and I beat like Leona 2, Yuumi 2, like 5 Battle Academia 4 Prodigy.
Oh yeah.
And it like was not even close.
The full Prodigy board loses to Mouse 2 with a Poppy 1.
It was actually not even close.
Very sad. I think the true damage against heavyweights was just useless. So.
Yeah. Gnar is still a good hold. Gnar holds items for Xayah. He is good to hold if you want to play snipers. Ashe is still playable. Fast 9 is like probably good if you like tempo with Gnar. So Gnar is just still like a very strong unit. Kenyon just goes with Malphite. He enables Kai'Sa as well. I think Malphite overall is like a stronger tank on stage 2 So like that's why he's an S tier. Like Malphite 2 is just like a lot more valuable than Kennen 2. But Kennen is still a great hold. Lucian is solid too. All of the best reroll lines that you want to be playing are like AD or like Kinsu. So you would prefer to not like play an AP opener. But if you did have an AP opener, like Lucian is just like a good hold. Like obviously he goes really well with Aatrox. He goes with like Kennen and Malphite, and these are 3 units that you want to be holding anyway. So Lucian just like it makes a lot of sense to be holding Lucian because he goes with all the other stuff that you like are high prior. Zac again, like playing around like Zac Aatrox just allows you to go deeper into heavyweight, and 6 heavyweight just feels really good. Kale also again is really good, so holding Zac's like might allow you to play Kale if you have like enough econ and good items. This Zac Kale thing again, like be very careful holding them. They're amazing holds if you have like the right items to like play the comp. But like if you get drops like not Ginsu components, then like you would never hold Kale, right? So this Kale here has like an asterisk around it because like holding Kale is like amazing if you have Kale components and if you find an econ augment, but it's like useless if you like don't have a Kale reroll angle. Sivir. Oh yeah, what did you want to say? Yeah.
If you want to like earlier, you were talking about how Viego doesn't really build in from anything. Like if you get an early Kale 2 and you have like the slam and you realize you shouldn't play the reroll line, you could potentially pivot into a Viego if you find one.
Like if you had like JG and like Ginsu or like Edge of Night.
Yeah, like slam Edge of
I
Night.
could see that.
Or Ginsu plus JG, anything like that.
And you're playing like Aatrox and Neferi, so you kind of had some like Soul Fighter stuff going on.
Yep.
Yep, I could see that.
I've also seen Kale actually. She's weak stage 2, but once you get her to level 6, she's very strong. So
yeah, Kale 2.
To play after.
Kale 2 on stage 3, if you have like good enough items, or like if you have a good enough front line, this is pretty strong. Sivir, honestly, I could see Sivir going a lot higher. Her buffs were really massive, so she might actually be pretty strong. Also, again, like Protector Sniper is just a very good comp right now. So like holding Sivirs and Malphites is really nice if you can play the comp. So honestly, like in retrospect, I might even move Sivir higher. But Sivir's pretty nice.
It's just a little awkward if you slam, like if you don't play into snipers and you're like slamming IE or something. And
yeah, then you have to like pray that just pray that you hit Kai'Sa's.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Or play Jinx. Yeah. And then down here in the B tier, these are not necessarily bad holds, but it really depends like what you have upgraded and like what else you're holding and what your components are. The whole like Bastion Prodigy opener just got a lot worse because this opener was so good specifically at playing toward Yuumi, and if Yuumi is unplayable, then there's just no reason to even like play the opener because it like the opener like has no future, so to speak. Like it's probably still a strong board like on stage 2. So you can definitely still hold it, like if you have like a Cinder upgrade or something. But like, you're just gonna find yourself like playing this board with like Bastions and Prodigies. And then like you're just gonna open sell the whole board and play something else. And it just gets like awkward.
Say that if you have this opener and like you have everything upgraded, like, you know, you can play towards it and have a strong board in the early game. But you're kind of having to play into Mentor, which is okay, because you just need Aatrox and like everything else you can find on 8. So like it's fine to do that if your opener is very strong with these Bastion units early, but yeah, it is a little awkward.
Or you add Jace, and then you add a bunch of heavyweights, and then you play Malzahar heavyweights.
And then you play Malzahar. Yes. But you kind of want to like play the 1-cost heavyweights because there is a lot of value in them just being upgraded for stage 4.
And then Neferi Kalista, honestly, looking at this again, Neferi like is definitely A tier. Like Neferi is a fine hold. And Kalista just like is kind of bad. Like I feel like if I have IE, or like if I have like AD components, I'd rather be playing around Nart or Sivir or like any of the AD2 costs, like Jhin or Xayah or Kai'Sa. Like Kalista is definitely my least favorite, like early game AD unit. But like Neferi is probably fine. But again, right, like this is just like a baseline guide of like what units lead you to the best comps, right? So like if you're holding Rels and Garens and Ezreals, you're gonna end up in a spot where like you can't play the best comps, or like you have to sell your whole board. So you have 2-star Aatrox and Zac, who are you supposed to use for Iron Holder as a tank? I think Zach is tankier. But if you can activate heavyweight and juggernaut, that's probably Aatrox.
I'd agree. Kitty was mentioning the Syndra reroll.
Oh, Starry Night.
You checked that earlier, right? And it looked really bad.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and like maybe people are doing it without the fruit, but it looks so bad. Like even if you literally 3-star the whole board, you can 3-star 4 units and still be averaging a 5th. Like that is insane.
That's really really bad.
That is so bad. Like you cannot play this. Like if you play this, you will lose LP. Even if I make it to level 8, I'm still going 5th. And even if I make it all the way to level 9, I'm still going like 3rd or 4th.
Maybe a vertical Bastion Yumi could finally be playable, since Academia got nerfed.
Like 6 Passion plus like
Leona.
Israel.
I've been waiting for this to be good since PB. There's like no sample in it, but it looks fine in stats. But it looks bad. Okay.
Funkster played on stream looks so
What
bad.
looks bad, the Bastion or the reroll?
Wait, this looks kind of good though.
I mean, I'm not optimistic. But
I mean, I have to exclude like 5 Prodigy. I have to exclude
like Syndra 3. That might be why.
3. I have to exclude. I mean, it looks kind of good. I'm not gonna lie.
60
Maybe.
games. Let's go. I think 60
I mean, I'm probably not doing enough filtering, but
I mean, if anyone wants to try it out,
report back. Yeah.
report back and try at your own risk.
But yeah, unless there's anything else I missed, that should be about it. Best comps top to bottom. Alright, we can make like a tier list right now.
I mean, I have the stats, so.
Alright, this is what you should be trying to angle. Like when you load into a game, you should be trying to play Zaya. You should be trying to play Malphite Jhin. You should be trying to play Kaisa. And honestly, I think you should be trying to play Malzahar.
I think we're jumping the gun on Malzahar a little
I
bit.
might be jumping the gun.
We're jumping.
But I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Yeah. Those three are definitely very good.
These three take precedence, and if you can't play these 3, then it's a Malzahar game. Okay. Let me stop.
Don't try to force Kaisa when you can't build stacks, okay?
Yeah. You need early Kaisa with like Sword or Glove.
Yeah, and if you're going for the Rammus version, you need econ. You can get away with a little lower econ with the if you play like Jugs and you're rerolling 2 cost. It's hard to get away with that when you need 3-star 3 cost. And
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Very
the best
important
part is
point about Kaisa. I've played a lot of Kaisa and I have a lot of success with the line, so this is my opinion. Maybe some people might disagree, but I almost never take actual combat augments. I think econ augments and item augments are like way, way, way higher value in the comp. Econ augments just helping you stabilize faster and helping you hit faster. Helps you get stacks on your Kaisa. And obviously, like, you need to hit in order to play the game, right? So econ augments are really strong, especially if you want to play for like Darius 3, like 3-star 3 costs. You need a lot of money, right? And then item augments are also really strong because item augments are the best way to get immediate tempo right now, which is super, super helpful to get stacks on your Kaisa. So like, if you took a combat augment instead, like, yes, it would make you a little stronger and it would scale better throughout the game. But if you're losing fights because you have a combat augment instead of item augments, then you're getting less stacks on your Kaisa, you're losing HP, you're taking less HP from other players. So overall, like, if you want to make your board stronger, items will almost always be better than combat in Kaisa.
Yep. And just small note, when you're playing Kaisa and maybe you're trying to decide early game if you want to put in a Supreme Cell trait or a Duelist trait, it's always Supreme Cell because it helps her finish off units to gain the stacks.
Solid. Probably like kind of whatever. This is like don't play.
Pretty bad.
This is probably like okay. This is probably like A or B.
I think Ash is very good if you can build the right items.
This is like solid. I think this is solid. I think this is solid. I think Viego reroll is better than like lovely Samira. That might just be my. I could be wrong about that. the Kayla's like good if you can play it. This Fast 9 stuff is good. Oh yeah, 7 Crystal is definitely S tier.
You'd prefer to play 7 Crystal when you can like have a strong board early though, because you need to get to 9. If not, you're gambling for an early Zyra.
Do we have thoughts on like Senna reroll, like Senna 3?
Thoughts, but the stats on Senna 3 itself looks good, but yeah,
Okay.
I can't
I mean,
tell how
low-key,
much different she is from last patch. With the new bug changes, I have to see.
I mean, this is Smolder and Kog'Maw. I think they're like probably approximately equal. That's right.
I want to say Kog'Maw without artifacts is definitely worse than Smolder.
Okay, please don't play Lux. Please do not play Lux.
He's looking pretty bad.
I think Caitlyn Jace is maybe B tier. I think it's pretty solid. It's not like, I think these are like, this is like you should be loading in trying to play Xayah, Malphite, or Kai'Sa. And if you can't play them, then try to play these. And if you can't play these, like try to play these. And just don't play these. Am I missing it? Oh yeah, Sorks is like, don't play Sorks. If you're getting Giga frontline items and no components for good melee slams, it better just play a different comp. If you have frontline items with backline AP, honestly, if the frontline items are like Vow type, like if you can turn it into Vow, then I think like Mentor is fine. If you have to make like real true tank items with AP slams, I would be playing Malzahar. Oh, this is like Star Guardian Jinx. I mean, I guess I can replace it with like, this like makes it more clear, I guess.
Yeah, I think Jinx should probably be in A tier.
Like Star Guardian?
Yeah. Or at least the highest tier in B tier. We'll have to see, because like you said earlier.
What do we think about like actually, you don't think Soul Fighter is good, right?
I think Soul Fighter is very bad if you don't hit a Soul Fighter stat. Like, just like looking at stats. Like,
yeah, I think
weaker than other stuff.
Like if you have like +1, I think it's like, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but if you don't have +1, it's like, it's not that good.
Oh, also, if you're playing Star Guardian, the comp's probably a little bit better than stats suggest because a lot of people play it from AP start, and it's a. I actually didn't really know about this until like a week ago when Ralph pointed it out, because I was stuck in like the first patch way of thinking about Star Guardian, but Ahri is not the greatest, and Jinx is like a very solid unit right now, so you really want to be playing it from Jinx components early, off of like a early Xayah tempo or like a Nara opener, and if you're playing Star Guardian from AP and you don't have like a bunch of items to get Jinx 3 items pretty fast, then you're going to be having a bit of a rough time.
What do we think about the bear?
The bear, I'd say just bottom of B because it's like.
Him,
oh, wait,
he
bear,
lost.
Like Edgelord version is really bad.
He lost. He lost Omnivamp. He lost Built-in Edge of Night. This guy sucks.
Yeah. Maybe Jinx Volley is like bottom of B, but that's about his best call.
Oh, Shen and Mudo. Oh, I think they're both good.
Oh yeah.
And the hero augments.
Yeah, the hero augments looks.
These are both good. This is still good. This one is still insane.
No. Nico's bad.
You think so? I thought it was good.
I mean, if we're believing stats, like she
I mean, I could be
she
wrong.
was
This
really
one- this
broken
one's
last patch, but she took a hit this patch. She's fine, like okay, but Archangel nerfed her a good amount, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Nerf, yeah.
These three, I like am kind of afraid to put them higher. Like, I don't know if I want to like put them in S tier, but they're definitely good. Like this one's also good.
Oh, Zac is S tier.
This one is, yeah, this one's insane. Yeah. This one is probably also S tier, but I don't know.
Yeah. If you see the Zac augment and have the correct items, I would definitely consider clicking it. Its stats are extremely good right now. I like update my stats list pretty often and like go through with good filters, and right now Zac is a 3.16 with 2+ items, 2+ star level, and a JG on him is a 3.16, and it's probably a little lower because it's counting protagonist, but if we even that out, it's the augment is like a 3.4, 3.5 AVP, so it's insane if I'm not missing something. But yeah.
So I think overall, these three comps you definitely want to be playing, and these are like for sure S tier if you have the opportunity to play them. Among these comps in like A and B tier, this is where I think the most like things will shake up as the patch like gets figured out. But like for now, for the first couple days of the patch, you can definitely top 4 games with like any of these A tier comps. and like maybe the B tier comps if you play them like from a good spot. And I would try to avoid playing anything down here.
I would say just cut your brain off from anything C tier.
Honestly, I would only play something in B tier if it's like literally screaming at me.
Yeah,
Like if I spawn in with like a Senna 2 or like a Darius with Fusion Dance with like IE, or like if I have like Soul Fighter +1.
I
Or if
think
I have like,
Darius and Kate reroll are like the best ones of this tier. And
yeah, they could be, yeah.
I personally might put them in like bottom of A, but so I think
I could move them up, yeah.
pretty strong. But yeah, the rest of them, yeah, not the best.
Yeah, I mean, Kate is also another option from like IE Slam. Like if you make like IE on Sivir and you're like too contested on like snipers, you can play toward Kate.
Yeah. The 3 cost rerolls again, like you need econ for these type of comps, okay? So if you're like you know, seeing a K early and you're not super strong and making gold from win streaking and you don't have an econ augment, try not to play the comp.
Malzahar. Oh yeah, GS is really good now, yeah.
GS
It's the best third Xayah item. Midas touch. I don't think Midas is that good on Malzahar.
Midas, at least early game, that sounds pretty good.
Power font, yeah, power font. Power font is actually pretty good because you don't play very much Prodigy, and you have so much frontline with 6 heavyweight, like vertical heavyweight. He does get a lot of executes, but I think typically with Midas touch, it's at its best when you like do a lot of like burst damage, because it saves you from situations where you like barely miss a kill and then you like slow down. But the thing is, anything that Malzahar would execute with Midas would just die anyway in the next like half a second. So it's not actually like speeding up the fight in like a meaningful way.
It would move his like ticks to the next target and start ticking them.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So
yeah,
and it's also efficient because like each tick is like very fast, so you're always proccing at 12%.
Yeah, I'm just saying like
6% health.
Yeah, if you're like strong and if you want to make money, then like it's really good. I just think that like the execute ability isn't good, because like if you guys remember in like set 13 in Into the Arcane, like that Malzahar, like it was like well known that it was like a huge bait to put like the execute anomaly on like 5-star Malzahar, like 5 cost Malzahar, because he would just kill the thing anyway.
You can probably think of it as like 10% extra damage on Malzahar, as opposed to like most fruits, which will give him, you know, 20 to 25-ish%. But for stage 2 and 3, like Noah said, if you're strong, like I think that would be very good for farming gold. But if you're like super weak, then it becomes sus.
Like I would click I mean, Shadow Clone is the best one because you spread your dot like faster. I think Shadow Clone is like by itself is the best one, and then after that I would put like Keen Eye and Power Font, and maybe Magic Expert depending on your build. Also, if you're strong early somehow, like if you have an early Malzahar drop with like upgraded frontline with slams, I would be down to click Max Arcana, especially after the buffs that make it like stack more consistently and faster.
Is it based off kills or takedowns?
I think it's takedown.
If it's takedowns, then he's taking the entire board, so he'll count every single unit.
I mean, I can check.
Which would be pretty synergistic. They really both use so. You can definitely build a lot of different things, but
yeah, takedowns, yeah.
Nothing else really carries armor or magic shred better, so I think it's always void staff. The Morello can be moved to something else, but nothing else will like hit backline with the Morello. So like, just the fact that he's applying it to everyone makes it like
you 100% want void staff on him, and you probably want Morello or red.
And then the final item can be just pure AP. It can be Gunblade.
Yeah, last item is typically like Gunblade or Rabidons or Archangel. I wonder if there are enough stats for this yet. Yeah, you definitely want Mogs.
Like Mog's Visage is seems really good. And just whatever armor item.
I mean, Gargoyle is just like slimy people are just building it. Vow is just like generally a good hobby item. I mean, Stax is just good in 6 heavy. Tefast solid. Visage. Declaw.
Adaptive skin if you want your pop to live really long. Like if Atomic doesn't end up being good, I would assume that adaptive skin is gonna be her best.
Yeah, I can see that.
her.
Guys, please do not build Declaw. There's no AP in this meta.
The only AP really is from like reroll, which will usually have mixed damage, or Mentor Rise, which has mixed damage, and Star Guardian, which has mixed damage. So, like, it's just bad.
Bramble stocks. They're going to the moon.
Wait, yeah, can you check if Bramble looks better than last patch?
How do I even do that?
It should.
Oh, items. Bramble is a 4.03. Last patch, Bramble was a 4.07. Yeah.
Yep, we're better.
So Bramble was actually already pretty good. Well, now Bramble's better. Are there any Janna reroll lines? If there are, I don't know about them. I mean, it got a lot better.
The problem is probably that there's always a Zyrocon player, and Protector to get nerfed, so...
What do you play this with, bro? 6 Protector. I mean, Kog'Maw, probably, right?
Yeah, she's more like a duo with Cog.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the buff was pretty big.
Jinx. Oh, this is Protector Spat, Poppy. If you have Protector Spat Poppy is like insanely broken.
Protector Spat.
The
It was really
tech.
good on... I wonder if Yumi's playable with Protector Spat, because it was so good
On Leona? Wait, where is it? Oh, you can't craft it. You need it from an augment.
Yeah.
Other. Do you just play like...
You can probably just do the heavyweight one, right? And just not have protectors. Or like that can be the filler slot on level 9.
7. And then 8 is like this guy.
Yeah.
This thing is insane. This thing will never die.
Is that what Weijin was doing earlier? Was this his board?
Yeah. Wait, let me look at my...
Yeah, because every time it gains the shield, it gets extra health, so I guess just surrounding her with protectors
That's hard.
just make her go infinite.
Oh, look, that's hard. Yeah, what was he? He was playing... Wait, no, that was a different game. Wait. Did I play him in 2 separate games with Malzahar? Oh no, I played against him with this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kale.
Wait. Oh, no, when I was Kale. Yeah.
So
He's
he
playing...
would have lost this game if Weijin lived, but he died to Mentor, which had more.
He's playing 4 Protector. With like a bunch of snipers. 4 Protector, 4 Sniper.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, guys, Kale's really good if you got worth away Kale. Also, this is like... I feel like it's obvious if you think about it, but I don't see a lot of people doing it. But if you have worth away Kale, you should play 2 Kale 3s. Don't go for Kale 4.
You think so? I think if you can go for Kale 4, she's also insane.
Yeah, but like they both do like 8k. Like, does going for Kale 4 double your Kale damage? No, but playing 2 Kale 3s literally doubles your damage. If you can itemize it, but...
Yeah, like if you can itemize and just do it, then it's definitely good. I can get it for mouse plus heavies. I think the comp is very like this fruit dependent.
I mean, if this is all the stats I'm putting in, this looks pretty good.
Put mouse too.
Like if I put mouse 2, and I say I'm level 8 or 9,
Hey, it's pretty bad.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
But I mean, if you are you're kind of with these filters, you're cutting off your odds of like your chances of getting mouse 3, which is definitely possible. Rolling on 8, and also if you're stabilizing on a 2-star Malzahar.
Mouse 3 looks pretty good.
Can you
Like
filter,
just straight up mouse 3 is a 3.5, but like
Can you
if
filter
that's
level
like Viego 3 is like a 3.7. Smolder 3 is like a 4.1. Like Kog'Maw 3 is like a 4.2, 4.0. Malzahar 3 is really good.
The comp is like Elise from last patch where she would, or from last set where she was really good and stabilizes you on level 8. So like if we're playing around Malzahar and Poppy 1, we just roll for that board. Malzahar 2, we're always going to be going 9. So just filter like level 9 with the 6 heavies and like 3 item Malzahar.
Yeah, I mean, if you just fast 9 off of it, it's pretty good.
Do 6 heavy. This is counting Yumi.
Yeah.
Not many games, but like this should be more towards your average. Probably like it's going to be higher than this for sure, like in the low 4s probably, is what I assume. And there's a lot of optimization around the fruits. So like testing Atomic, making sure you have like Shadow Clone Mouse or Socialite, like whichever turns out to be like the best way to go about it. Could make like
I mean, it's definitely very experimental. Like, if you have Mouse 3 with 3 items, like, okay, this is if you make level 9, but like, let's hear
Before people were doing Socialite on Mentor, like the comp was very mid. And then once people, well, not very mid, but like it was good, but like it became completely broken once people learned how to get the right fruits. So like that can shift comp from B tier all the way to S tier.
Yeah, it can drastically change like the placement of the comp.
If this Atomic thing is good on Poppy, like I'm predicting, then this could be broken.
I mean, if you can hit Ramus 3, then like it's good. Obviously, Ramus 3 is like a 3.0. Like what if I have Poppy 2 with 3 items? Oh, obviously that's like you don't do that with items. I don't know. Maybe I'm baiting the whole coaching server.
This could be complete bait.
I could be lying to you all. It's possible.
So 5 prodigies better tips though. Yeah, you might just be broken on going 9 and like it's a different front line, but Poppy with 6 heavyweight seems really good. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna keep trying it and seeing how it feels.
like everyone doing this is rerolling, or like trying to reroll it. So there's really no stats that are.
Yeah, I think if you stay level 8, it's like bad for sure. But it's like it's good enough and cheap enough to like win a lot of fights on stage 4.
If you're rerolling, you should probably just go for like Ramus.
All right, I think I'll probably wrap it up. Thank you all for coming. I'm losing my voice. I'll see you around next time. I'll be posting the links to the slides and stuff. And thank you to Pun for doing this with me, honorary coach Pun. So yeah, thank you all so much. I'm wrapping it up. Have a good one and good luck on the patch.